Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel called zuzanareacts, where I learn all things Bara with your help, and I just share my Slovak Central European point of view. And in today's video, a lot has been said about British education system, and I wanted to explore how British educated Indians. I know that you guys perhaps were not in favor of that system and maybe still sad, or maybe sad is the right word, that the original system has been replaced, which perhaps hasn't really worked in your favor. So I'm very interested what we are going to learn in today's video. But before we jump into the video,
please like this video and click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you so much for your support.
Okay, so let's discover the facts on how British educated you.
Many people describe India as a rich country where poor people live. But if we look at the history of India, it's very evident that India was the richest country in the world before the invasions happened to us, both in terms of wealth as well as intellectual. During those periods, India used to contribute almost 24% of the global economy. And in 1947, by the end of the British rule, the percentage dropped down to 4%. Those who are saying that the British brought infrastructure and development to this country have some facts with you before start blabbering. Every single aspect of this country was systematically destroyed by the British, and education tops the list in that. Imagine the number of time people told that the British came and educated us. This is the biggest myth that needs to be get done away with. If these people had paid any minimum attention in their history classes, they wouldn't be making this kind of idiotic statements in the public forum. In 1911, the illiteracy rate of India was 94%, and in 1921 it was 92%. So only 6 to 8% of the Indian population were educated during the British period. When East India Company was ruling India, there was a huge demand for clerks and other administrative jobs. It was cheaper to get Indians rather than Englishmen from England for these jobs. So the company needed some educated Indians who would assist them in the administration and act as a bridge between the company and the people of India. For the initial 60 years, the company did not pay any attention to the education sector in India. As their territory increased, they started to control the revenue and administration of the land. So the need to educate Indians in English became a necessity for them. Of course, I'm not denying the fact that English is the language that rules the corporate world now. It's almost impossible to make progress in our career without fluent English nowadays. Even though we were taught English all our life, many of us still couldn't speak the language fluently. That's the quality of the education system the British built in India. Whoever tells you that speaking fluent English is hard, just ignore them. We Indians speak at least 2 regional languages, and English is one of the simplest languages in the world. It's not rocket science. Even though all of us studied English throughout our life, most of us find it hard speaking the language. We can read and write, but when it comes to speaking, we are still hesitant about 1781, Warren Hastings, the Governor General of Bengal, established the Kolkata Madrasa for Islamic Law Studies. It was the first educational institute set by East India Company in India. In 1784, Asiatic Society of Bengal was founded by William Jones to understand and study the history and culture of India. Only during this period, Charles Wilkins translated the Bhagavad Gita in English. In 1800, Governor General Richard Wellesley founded the Fort William College in Kolkata to train the civil servants of the East India Company in Indian languages and customs. But this college was closed within 2 years because the British administration in England disapproved the Indianizing of English civil servants. And in 1813, they passed an act by which they allotted 1 lakh rupees to the education of Indians. Also, this act gave permission to the missionaries to officially enter India. The missionaries supported the Western education in India primarily for their conversion activities. They established many schools only with the intention of Christianizing and civilizing the natives. There were 2 sections of people in the power. Number 1, Orientalist, and number 2, Anglicist. Orientalists preferred the Indians to be given traditional Indian education. On the other hand, Anglicists preferred the Indians to be given Western style of education. Due to these issues, the allotted 1 lakh rupees was not given for 10 years until 1823. Finally, in 1835, Lord William Bentinck decided that the Western science and literature would be taught to Indians in English language, and he appointed Thomas Babington Macaulay, who was a hardcore Anglicist, as the chairman of that committee. Macaulay was someone who absolutely hated any form of Indian education. He believed that the Western science was far superior to Indian knowledge. Therefore, he said, "It is, I believe, no exaggeration to say that all the historical information which has been collected from all the books written in the Sanskrit language is less valuable than what may be found in the most paltry abridgments used at the preparatory schools in England." He thought that the Indian knowledge and literature are completely worthless. For instance, he said of Indian literature, a single shelf of a good European library was worth the whole native literature of India and Arabia together. Also, we should remember this was not just his own opinions. This is what many in the West thought back then about India. He wanted to create a pool of Indians who would be able to serve the Britishers and be loyal to them. That's why he said the purpose of English education is to create a class of persons, Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinions, in morals, and in intellect. And we are steadily heading towards that direction. Wearing ornaments, the very part of Bharatian culture, is not considered discipline in our schools. And men of this generation can't even imagine wearing vesti to the office. Of course, you have specialized ethnic days for that. As if you're born in America, you're indeed a stranger in your own land. When are we going to realize this?
Wow, I guess it's one of those, when I'm discovering about your culture, it's very shameful on, I guess, the British, but in general, there's so much that has been lost, and perhaps, like right now, I feel like the society is more about understanding and appreciate cultural differences and trying to see where the other people are coming from. And I felt like, obviously, and 19th century, it wasn't quite like that, right? So there was this superiority complex, and I think that the colonization was about, like, if you are able to invade other countries and conquer them, that shows that you're smart, right? Wrong, right? But I guess you be the judge, but I feel like it might be stemming from maybe that type of mentality, and it is really sad to, further down the line, as like you guys discovering all the knowledge that has been uncovered, lost, all of that. And it's just very sad about the impact. And like, I feel like if we have different culture, we let them develop, it can just only contribute to, okay, we have this system, you have this system, like what works better, or like, let's create one that works the best. Sometimes I wonder, why can't we just cherry pick the good stuff from different things and create something that's just the best? But I think there perhaps is a lot of ego involved in people that are in charge of these things. It's nonetheless very interesting. So how do you feel about, learning all of that and discovering about your education system? And what does that make you actually think or feel? And I think that there are things to bring, let's say, Sanskrit to life in India. I'd love to know if I'm correct in that assumption. It's just the whole Vedic system is I think just so vast. Maybe, I don't know, not that great of a use in today's society, because I feel like when it comes to education, if you want to participate in a global economy, you kind of have to go with what others are doing as well a bit. So it actually works for you too. So very, very, very interesting. And I think with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please give a thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe to this channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, please do take care. I'm sending much love. Bye-bye.